An unremarkable 4X game by any other name is just as unexciting, even if that name is one of the great nostalgic darlings of strategy games past. In the case of NGD Studios' Master of Orion reboot, wrapping itself in a legendary title and attempting to distinguish itself with flashy real-time combat and an all-star voice cast don't make its bog-standard turn-based backbone any easier to get excited about. I don't want to spend this whole review comparing the new Mu to the old, because taken side by side, this game is arguably better. But the reason the original and its sequel hold a special place in gaming history are because of a pioneering spirit that's simply lacking from this conservative reimagining. In the mid-90s, Masters of Orion 1 and 2 offered a thrilling galaxy beckoning for exploration that inspired the imagination. But by modern standards, New Mu feels small and mundane. I feel like I'm looking at a diagram of a galaxy in a middle school textbook, rather than an adventure-laden expanse of space. It's something that has been done many times recently, and it's been done better. One area where New Mu does a fine job of recreating the WoW moments of the original is in the diplomacy screen. The alien races have some very cool animated leaders and advisors with excellent voice acting. Top-tier sci-fi alumni abound, from Star Trek The Next Generation's John Delancey as the charismatic and imposing human president.
It's clear you don't value our deals, nor our friendship.
And Michael Dorn as the booming narrator, to Firefly's Alan Tudyk as a quirky, big-headed alien scientist.
What should we focus on?
But I don't get the sense that these larger-than-life characters are the ones making decisions for their races on the strategic map. As a matter of fact, their behavior often seems to be guided by nothing but nonsense. For example, I would often use a small fleet to block off my sovereign space from pirates like this. Almost inevitably, a fleet from some neighboring empire, usually one I was on good terms with, would show up to blow up my blockade without even declaring war, then go home for no reason I could see. At least when I was randomly getting my ships shot to pieces, I was treated to some highly enjoyable, highly tactical real-time combat. Any ship in your combat fleet can be controlled directly on the battle map like an RTS unit, and more hands-off admirals have control over interesting and useful options like engagement range, thruster settings, and formation. There's also a ubiquitous ship designer, though I found myself most often defaulting to the recommended loadout for my combination of unlocked technologies, rather than tweaking every ship design every time I developed a new shield modulator. Alas, the strategic map is a pretty dull and pedestrian recreation of the original game, which means it just feels like nearly every other Space 4X I've played in the past couple decades. After hundreds of turns colonizing planets and star system after generic star system, balancing my population between food production and science output, I craved something creative or out of the ordinary to shake up the routine. But New Mu fails to really take chances or borrow cues from all the evolution that's gone on in the strategy sphere since the 90s. The most interesting run I had was when I created a challenge of my own devising, building a race of expert farmers and using our sprawling homeworld as a breadbasket, shipping its ever-teeming population out to my backwater colonies on transport ships to jumpstart their own labor bases. Most of the time, the goals New Mu lays out for you are straightforward and uninteresting. Find a new system, kill the pirates, set up a colony, terraform it to be more habitable, repeat. A pollution system that requires you to manage the ecology on your more industrialized planets tries to throw a wrench into this formula, but only really succeeds in forcing you to stop production to put your workforce on a giant roadside cleanup operation every couple dozen turns. There's not much that's outright wrong with Master of Orion, but there's not much memorable or endearing about it either. It's built on a moderately successful but bland execution of the inside-the-box Space 4X formula. The moments when its flair for leader characterization and an enjoyably complex combat engine take center stage are the only times anything about it really stands out. There's definitely enough game here that I wouldn't turn anyone away from giving it a spin, but I also can't say you'd be missing anything special by skipping it. For more on Master of Orion, stick with IGN.